Hello and welcome to this video which takes a look at what is definitely one of the greatest opportunities to improve performance, which is to initiate high-value strategy meetings. These meetings, if run well, can be transformational. My name is Cam Scully and I will be your host in this video. Did you know that most organizations spend less than 1 hour per week put into discussions on strategy? That includes senior managers. Even worse, research shows that when senior leaders are polled individually, they often have completely separate sets of priorities from each other. Talk about misalignment. Rather than get into the reasons for this and the reality that an hour a week is just not enough for strategy, let's look at this for what it is, a major opportunity to invest more time and effort into what is clearly a high priority topic, the execution of strategy. So what is a strategy meeting? Let me quickly cover the key characteristics. First, we are not referring to the strategic planning process. Those are critical too, but separate. A strategy meeting is an evaluation of how an organization is progressing toward the accomplishment of its strategic objectives. It needs to stay focused on what is and what is not working from a strategic perspective. We need to use a strategic tool like the balanced scorecard as a centerpiece. The entire discussion needs to focus on where results are consistent with strategic expectations and where deviations are being observed. There can't be any deep dives into operational matters allowed, and no grumbling or playing victim can be tolerated. The meeting has a future focus and is about best next steps. Any form of woe is me talk or excuses is going to stifle the process. Finally, the focus of discussion needs to stay related to strategy and only strategy. No straying. I'll come back to that point. Okay, so what can you do before the strategy meeting to make the most of it? Quite a bit, actually. First, be sure to have an agenda. We will discuss the importance of sticking to it shortly. Next, a brief set of materials should be sent out with the agenda. It might include questions to be asked and areas to be covered. The key is that it needs to be brief. Meeting attendees need to be encouraged and hopefully held accountable for going through the materials before the meeting. Now comes the time for the meeting. Open by announcing the scope and purpose of the meeting. The meeting must stay strategic. A polite statement that reminds everyone to stay on topic is helpful here. The meeting again should include the balanced scorecard or some type of strategic dashboard as the centerpiece. It contains all the strategic signals needed to guide the discussion. The opening of the meeting might also reference a strategic statement plus the core and aspirational values. Aspirational values, by the way, are those values that an organization can't really claim to possess now, but aim to in the near future. Now, how each meeting unfolds is really case by case. The leader needs to make it lively and encourage constructive debate and ensure that it doesn't get stuck in any way. Okay, now what happens when, not if, but when, the discussion strays from the strategic focus, despite the fact that the introduction included a polite reminder? I say when it strays here because until people get used to the discipline of these meetings, the discussion will inevitably steer off course at some point. When the discussion strays, there are a couple of options to consider. The first is what I call the direct statement option. Something direct and polite like, "These points are valid but fall outside the purpose of this meeting." The second option is what I call the question option. Something like, "Good point, but tell us how it relates to the strategy." Or, "Can you link that point to the balanced scorecard?" Something to that effect. No matter what, it's very important to pause and bring the discussion back to strategy. If this is not done, the meetings do risk getting grouped in with the other meetings that are considered to be a waste of time. When the meeting is over, there is still a bit more work to be done. It's important to take the time to prepare a summary that will be distributed to all attendees. Most important in this summary is clarity on who is to do what by the next meeting. I recommend sending this out with a silence means consent message, meaning if people don't raise any differences in understanding from the meeting, they are accountable to follow through where their name appears on the summary. Unless accountability is involved and emphasized, follow through is going to suffer. And finally, a between meetings forum for people to clarify, ask questions, and maybe give updates as appropriate is recommended. The likelihood of follow through is much better if people have a way to deal with any concerns or roadblocks. Just a few parting thoughts now before I sign off. First, I realize that I'm suggesting the creation of yet more meetings. These meetings, though, are far more important than the average meeting. Run well, the value of these meetings have no boundaries. You can save time and energy on other activities. It can even reduce the number of other meetings you need to have. Strategy meetings can also help keep focus on activities and tasks that move toward the accomplishment of the strategy. And really, what is more important than the strategy? More success can be just a few meetings away. I hope you found this video to be useful in providing some encouragement and pointers for initiating successful strategy meetings. These meetings can be like rocket fuel as compared to regular gas meetings. The return on investment is there for those who take charge and make these meetings happen. If you would like to discuss any part of this, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. I'm Cam Scully. Thank you for watching.